Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my channel and happy Sunday. I hope wherever you are, the weather's nice. It's gotten quite cold here in New Jersey. You know, not super cold, just basically it's actually finally November here because we had a couple days of really warm weather, Thursday and Friday. Thursday was like 68 and Friday was like 70. You know, it's kind of unseasonable for November in New Jersey, but I was happy with it, but now we have cold weather again. So, anyway, so today we are going to look at the See and Sew patterns. I'm sorry, Stitch and Save patterns. These are the McCalls brand. They were like the McCalls Economy brand. I got the majority of these from Mrs. Landis. There's a couple in here that I think I actually got in a haul, and we'll talk about them when we get to them. But the majority of these are Mrs. Landis. She really liked See and Sew and Stitch and Save because there's a lot of these, right? And they're all uncut. And some of them, like actually this one, she had 3 copies of this pattern in 3 different sizes, you know. So, but before we get to the patterns, I want to talk about this antique shop that my sister and I went to yesterday. Now, I'm going to show you some stuff. And actually this stuff, I'm going to put it all together so I can show you. It was a set, and it's a very interesting set. Let me see if I can get all of it out. So it is these buttons, very patriotic. So there's 1, 2, 4, 6. So a total of 12 of these buttons. Ooh, and in the same bag, by the way, this was all $5 at this antique shop, was this. And I'll show you the back. Yeah, it's a belt set. Very groovy, right? Very patriotic, very groovy. I was really happy. It came in actually this Ziploc bag, and it was $5. And I was like, yeah, I have to get that. I also got these buttons. They're in plastic. They're going to be harder to see. Let's see if you can see the close up. Can you see that very cool design? So $3 for this card of buttons. I just thought they were really great. And then they had like a whole basket full of buttons, but most of them were loose or they were in like little plastic sandwich bags. But I did manage to find these 3. So this is a set. All right. And it's a little hard to explain these sets, but you see how they're all the same button, but they're different sizes. These are what are commonly called, I think they're commonly called shirt sets. So like these buttons here would be the ones that you had going down your shirt. Then these would be on your cuffs. Now, you could also use this same size for the upper button of your collar, or you might go with a smaller button for the upper part of your shirt, the part that you may not have buttoned all the time, right? The part that you might leave open. So you'll see, I actually have several of these, and you see them all the time. And they range from like, you know, really a big difference to like a really small difference in the button sizes. And it gets confusing when you're sorting buttons and they're the exact same button, but it's a little slightly different size. And it's because they were shirt sets. They were made for dress shirts. Mostly men's, but I don't think this is men's. I think this is definitely a woman's set. I don't know how well you guys can really try to get a good angle on it. Can you see that? It's like it's like a faux metal, a faux brass. Can you see how the inside is kind of distressed? I don't think these are super old, but I thought they were a great set. I also got some of this. Yeah, this is baby blanket, the satin thing. Now these, I think he threw in almost for free. And then there was this. Oh, can you guys see that? It's a lot of it too. It might be close to 2 yards, but it is just the coolest trim. And I love finding vintage trim. I'm going to take the safety pin off so you can really see. So that's the back. And then there's the front of the vintage trim. And I just thought it was so cute. I do think that I might have gotten these for free. The other thing I got that I didn't grab, and I should have, but I ended up finding the Mr. Boston's deluxe cocktail book from 1965, which is, I looked at it on Etsy. I knew that one's not worth a lot of money. That one was like 12 bucks, I think. Not horrible. I only spent $4 on it. And I think I got a discount because they were doing 20% off everything in the store. So less than $4. All of this stuff in that book cost me $13. So I did pretty well. But I was looking, and some of the older guides, especially some of the original guides from like the the guide that I have was originally published in 1935. So it was like a reprint, and they had them, 50s and everything else up right until 1965. And that one was like a $300 book. So, but I just thought it was cool. It was a cool little book. And I just thought it would be like a fun little thing to have around the house. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get right into these 80s patterns. Now, I will warn you, I actually have a couple in here that are 90 and 91 because at some point in time, they switched from this kind of white to having a red stripe down the side here that was, to tell you the truth, it's kind of jarring. And I thought that they did it like in 1990, like they did it before the new decade started. Nope, they did it in like 91. So I have some patterns with the old envelope. Hello, Evangelina. How are you? I have different kinds of envelopes, but most of these, more than 80% of them, more than 75% of them are from the 1980s. And they are quite a trip down the memory lane. Let me tell you, as I was working on them, I was remembering some of these outfits. So like I said, this one, she had 3 of, and it's great. It's just, it's a casual top and casual trousers. It's so nice though, right? It's just trousers and a top, but it looks so much nicer. And this, I actually love this. This was kind of my style a bit in the 80s. I didn't like too much ruffles, and I mean, I still don't. I'm not a big fan of bows and ruffles and lots of stuff. Like cottagecore, not my thing. I've said it before. Speaking of cottagecore, here we go. Very cottagecore-ish, and there's the line drawings on the back. It's got that yoke detail you can see right there. Yeah, but that was the thing. I remember that in the 80s. Okay, and a lot of this, I was surprised how much of this we have. I really do remember 80s does 40s, but this is very 1930s. And I was like, I really don't remember 1980s doing 1930s, but I guess they did because here we are. I mean, that's really, really 30s. And this was kind of 80s does 40s, but kind of not, kind of 30s again, And it's a shame this isn't my size because, man, do I love that skirt. But with any luck, I will find my size possibly cut somewhere in Mrs. Landis's patterns. All right, and here's another one. Just kind of like I had this dress in black. It's just a stretch knit dress. You can belt it. You can wear it unbelted. And then, of course, we have this. Yes, the beginning of sergers and the velour tracksuit. Yes, it's a velour tracksuit made for stretch knits. Yeah, it was the beginning of the end, right? And then this, again, just cute top, cute skirt. We did a lot of cute top, cute skirt in the 80s. I remember. She had a couple of these too. I think she had 2 or 3 of these also. It's just a pull-on shorts and a really cute little, what we used to call a camp shirt. Camp shirts were kind of a more masculine design. They usually had a short sleeve. Um, and then this was so cute because look what it is. That's right. It's culottes because we loved a culotte back in the 80s. Here, I'm going to adjust this ever so slightly. There we go. I'm getting a little bit of glare. It's amazing. It's not even 3 in the afternoon and it feels like it's like 4 because the sun is already, the shadows are already getting long. Another just really cute little short set. A lot of short sets. I'm thinking that she bought these patterns because, you know, she had 10 kids, right? Because they were probably something really easy to whip up either for her kids or her grandkids, just for like summer clothes, you know, like nothing too fancy, just something to throw on, go outside and play in. But seriously, I think I had this outfit kind of. I had an Esprit de Corps. Remember Esprit de Corps? Esprit. I had an Esprit bright red shirt like this, like Hawaiian. It wasn't really Hawaiian style. It was just flowers, right? And I had Bermuda shorts because I still like Bermuda shorts. They're still one of my faves. And yeah, so there you go. More casual. Yeah. But look at our casual. Even our casual back in the 80s was cute. I was watching in a little suit. I was watching another YouTuber today. She was talking about her love of vintage. Little cottagecore for you. And she wears everything from Victorian to 1960s. She wears pretty much whatever she wants. A little more cottagecore for you. There we go. Look at, see that? See the skirt? And this has a crop top, which is kind of interesting. But she was saying like leisure wear, we just gotten to a point where we're so casual all the time. And she's right. I just, you know, everybody's so casual. And unfortunately, it gets a bit much, right? We go from being just casual to being just downright sloppy. I mean, it's amazing to me what I see the girls. Oh, here we go. Another little more athleisure, right? It's like the dressy tracksuit. The young girls who are in the high school girls who were on my bus, a lot of them, this is a wrap skirt, by the way. Isn't that cool? Let's see. Wrap skirt. They basically just roll out of bed in their pajamas and come to school. It's crazy. Really cute suit. Love this skirt again with the pleats, the front pleats. I'm going to have to make myself a skirt like that. I'm getting this close to being able to sew again. This room is emptying out. It's great. I'm getting things organized. And here we go. Here's a little 80s does 20s, right? It's 2 pieces. Oh, this pattern I almost kept for myself, but I didn't. It's a shirt waist dress, but I have so many patterns for shirt waist dress. And this one, a lot like the other ones from the 80s, it's kind of oversized. It's a shirt waist dress, but it's kind of oversized. And then we have this. Again, we were casual, but we looked cute, right? Yeah, but it's a shame. The girls on my school bus, they make no effort. They just kind of roll out of bed, put on some sweats and pull their hair back. And it's like, sweetie, you have the best skin, best hair, best figure you will ever have in your life. I hope you don't regret it someday when you want to put on like a cute dress and you're like, you know, more 80s does 40s. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I really did like this dress a lot. And then this one, ooh, this is the piece de resistance. 80s sundress. But can you see the back? I mean, it's amazing. Look at that. It's almost got like a freaking bustle with that tie. So that was it. Next week, I hope to get through the 90s patterns. There are more 90s patterns than there were 80s patterns. And like I said, some of these actually, one or two of these were 90 and 91 because they started putting this red stripe down the side of the pattern. And I thought they would have done that at the beginning of the decade, but they didn't. They did it in the, couple of years in. So we'll be looking at those, the red striped patterns. And I did keep one pattern. If you go online, it looks like I put up a lot more patterns than I actually showed you. And I didn't actually. I had gotten a bunch of Stitch and Save way back. This is a while ago when I was invited to do the clean out at the woman's house. She had sewn all of her own clothes, and I knew the person doing the clean out. And I went up there and I met her, and I just basically, she just gave me the sewing room. She had a lot of Stitch and Saves. So I had already posted them. But back in the day, before I was as wise as I am now, I had posted them together. So I would do things like put like, I think one of the titles was like 1980s dress with vest patterns. And it was dresses with a vest. Well, I went back, I rephotographed all of them because they didn't look so great to me. And I actually looked up the prices of some of these, and there could be a really vast difference between the two patterns. So instead of putting them all together, I rephotographed them, separated them out, cleaned up the whole thing a little bit. So if you look at the Etsy page, it does seem like I have more patterns than what I just showed you, but it's actually those patterns that I never really gave the attention they needed to back in the day. So I did keep one pattern. This was one of the patterns from that haul. It goes up to a size 24, so it's plenty of room. It's been on there because that's been about 2 years now. This has been on my shop for like 2 years at like $4 and has never sold. So I just retrieved it because it doesn't look like much, but this is the most basic princess seam fit and flare dress. I could make, God knows how many dresses I could make out of this, really. This is a really good line. I can make it look vintage. I can make it look less vintage. I can change the sleeves around. I can do all kinds of things with a dress like this. So I'm going to keep that pattern because, yeah, I'm going to keep that pattern. So next week, I will be doing the red stripe patterns. They're sitting over there. That's why I'm looking behind me. And I guess I'm going to do a 2 o'clock session. Here's the thing. Thursday, I have Thanksgiving. My sister and I will be cooking at my nephew's house. You know, we'll be the kids and everybody, right? Then on Friday, my friend does a like Friendsgiving where she has like her cousin and her friends come over, and she does a second Thanksgiving. She does a very small Thanksgiving just for her husband and her kids on Thursday. So then we have Saturday and Sunday. I have 4.5 days off this week. Well, I should say 2.5 days because technically I would have had the weekend off anyway. We have a half day on Wednesday, which will be, I shouldn't complain, but it's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible. It always is. We have parents that forget. Well, we have parents that forget they have children, but we also have parents that forget that their kids have a half day. So I start telling the parents on Monday, like Monday afternoon, I'll be like, half day on Wednesday, you know, just kind of reminding my parents, because with the elementary school kids, we have to drop them off to a parent, especially the young ones. If they're in pre-K or kindergarten or even first grade, we need to see a parent or someone who is allowed to meet this kid at the bus, you know, like older brother and sister, grandmom, whoever, doesn't matter who, but we need to know who they are. We invariably will have parents that forget this and are at work. And I'm calling the school going, yeah, I have such and such, and there's nobody here to meet them. And it's just always a pain in the butt because there's a lot of this goes on. So fingers crossed, all of my parents, when I remind them, will remember it Wednesday morning. And we'll have someone there to take care of their little lovely children when I drop them off. But I'm going to try and get a lot done when I have these days off. So I guess I'll be doing 2 o'clock on Sunday. I think I'll be doing 2 o'clock on Sunday. I can't see any reason why I wouldn't. It's just, you know, it's a weird kind of thing. And then we roll into December. And my goal for December is to get those See and Sews up online. They're actually sitting in my car. I made a point of taking them out of the storage unit, and I'm looking at all my gray, wow, and putting them in my car so I can start working on them and get them out of the way. And then from there, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. My goal ultimately by the beginning of the year is to have 3,000 patterns up um, on the Etsy store, because I'm sure I got more than 3,000 patterns from Mrs. Landis, but I want to like really get a high volume of product up on the Etsy store, which has been doing very well lately. So I'm, hoping that it'll continue to do that. So next week, I'm going to say, yeah, 2 o'clock Sunday, we'll do the red striped Stitch and Saves by McCalls. All of those seem to be 90s. I have really not found anything from Mrs. Landis in the Stitch and Saves that's like 2000s, but we'll see, because I might find one here and there. And I'll let you know. But until next week, I hope wherever you are that the weather's good. Even if it's cold, I hope it's sunny, and I hope you're feeling well. And until next week, have a great week. Have a fabulous Thanksgiving. I hope you get all the turkey you can eat. And until then, stay well and careful as you go. Bye. See you next week.